A small village in modern China, in a poor but lively village near Henan province, lived a boy named Li Wei. He was only 4 years old. Unlike other children who ran wild in the fields, Li Wei was quiet, observant. His mother often said, "Wei does not look at the world, he listens to it." But life was not easy. At the small village school, older kids bullied him daily. They mocked his size, stole his rice buns, shoved him to the dirt. Teachers looked the other way, too busy, too tired. Li Wei never fought back, not because he was weak, but because something in him refused to strike in anger. Still, he suffered in silence. The rain poured endlessly. The school had closed early, and Li Wei wandered alone, seeking shelter. His tiny feet carried him uphill, toward the old half-abandoned Zen temple. The monks who once lived there had long departed. Only a single caretaker remained, an old monk named Master Shen, who swept fallen leaves and lit incense daily. When Li Wei stumbled in, soaked to the skin, Shen laughed gently. "Little one, you'll catch cold. Come, sit by the fire." Li Wei obeyed. His wide eyes wandered the temple library, where scrolls lay in dusty piles. One loose drawer caught his curiosity. He tugged, and a small bamboo chest slid out, thudding onto the floor. Inside etched parchment, Bodhidharma's writings, symbols of breathing, flowing stances, simple drawings of a man sitting under a tree, postures like animals, words about silence and stillness. Li Wei could not read all the old characters, but something strange happened. As his small fingers traced the ink strokes, his breathing slowed. His body imitated the postures unconsciously. Day after day, Li Wei returned. While Master Shen swept, Li Wei mimicked the pictures. He squatted like a frog, stretched like a tiger, breathed like waves against rocks. It looked like child's play. But within weeks, his steps grew lighter, his balance stronger, his eyes calmer. Without knowing, Li Wei was practicing the true teachings of Bodhidharma, the union of meditation and movement. If impossible, the boy has touched the essence without being taught. Pure heart, pure vessel. When they shoved him now, he didn't fall. His feet rooted like a tree. When they tried to snatch his lunch, he moved aside like water flowing around stone. But Li Wei only smiled softly. He was no longer afraid. The more they pushed, the calmer he became. Soon, whispers spread. Li Wei is strange now, untouchable. One evening, Li Wei returned home to his mother. She asked why his clothes were dirty, but his face shone with peace. "Mama, I found a secret. When I breathe like the mountains, the bullies can't move me." His mother, tired but curious, only kissed his forehead. "As long as it keeps you safe, my little one." But destiny was only beginning to unfold. For the bullies were not done, and the true depth of Bodhidharma's teachings had only begun to awaken inside this 4-year-old child. Here, Li Wei's practice deepens, and the bullies push harder, setting the stage for real confrontation. He would squat low like a frog, leap up like a crane, roll across the ground like a tiger pouncing, at first clumsy, then graceful. His body seemed to remember movements no one had taught him. Most surprising was his breathing. Without effort, Li Wei inhaled deeply through his belly, exhaled slowly through his nose. His heartbeat slowed. His small body brimmed with strange energy. Master Shen watched quietly, whispering, "The boy is not learning, he is remembering." At school, Li Wei's peacefulness only irritated the older boys more. Their leader was Zhao Ming, a rough 9-year-old with a sharp tongue and fists like stones. He enjoyed humiliating younger kids. And Li Wei, small and quiet, had once been his favorite target. But now, when Zhao Ming shoved him, Li Wei simply shifted his weight, and the push slipped away like rain off bamboo. When Zhao Ming swung a fist, Li Wei stepped aside without fear. Li Wei only bowed lightly, like he'd seen in the scrolls. The dream of Bodhidharma that night, Li Wei dreamt he was sitting under a Bodhi tree. An old bearded monk in red robes sat across from him, calm, smiling. Good. Fighting is not the way. But when shadows rise, light must stand. Li Wei woke, heart pounding, but strangely at peace. The very next day, the bullies cornered him in the dusty schoolyard. Dozens of children gathered in a circle, whispering excitedly. Li Wei's small hands trembled at first, but then he remembered his breathing. Inhale like the mountains. Exhale like the river. Calm returned. The bullies lunged. Li Wei didn't strike. Instead, he stepped aside, letting one trip over his own leg. He ducked low, guiding another past him, who slammed into a wall. When Zhao Ming tried to grab him, Li Wei twisted gently, redirecting the force. Zhao Ming tumbled into the dirt. The children gasped. Not once had Li Wei thrown a punch. He had turned their strength against them. Zhao Ming roared, charging again, fists flying. Li Wei dropped into a low stance he'd seen in the scrolls, the horse stance. Solid as stone, Zhao's punch landed, but Li Wei didn't move. The crowd fell silent. Whispers spread across the village. The little boy who cannot be beaten. Farmers laughed in tea shops. Grandmothers shook their heads. Children tried copying his movements. But not everyone was amused. Zhao Ming's father, a harsh man who prided himself on his son's toughness, grew angry when he heard the stories. Zhao Ming swallowed hard, fear mixing with pride. At the temple, Li Wei confessed to Master Shen. "They came at me. I didn't want to hurt them, but something moved through me. That something is Kitha, life force. You have awakened it by accident, through Bodhidharma's path. But beware, Ki is like fire. Warmth when controlled, destruction when misused. Li Wei nodded solemnly. Though only 4, his heart carried the weight of the lesson, the escalation. The next day, Zhao Ming returned with not just his gang but older cousins, nearly 12 years old. They cornered Li Wei behind the school, no teachers in sight. Let's see if your tricks work now. The older boys grabbed sticks. One swung down hard. Instinct surged. Li Wei dropped into a flowing movement, sweeping the stick aside, spinning lightly. Another strike came. He ducked, letting the attacker stumble. But then one boy caught him by surprise, slamming into his chest. Li Wei flew back, coughing. The gang laughed. Li Wei wiped blood from his lip. For the first time, anger flickered, but he remembered Bodhidharma's words. The strongest fist is an open hand. So he stood slowly, breathing deep, hands open. The boys rushed again. Li Wei moved like water, redirecting, guiding. One by one, they collapsed into the dirt, clutching their bruises. Even Zhao Ming, furious and red-faced, charged blindly. Li Wei simply stepped aside. Zhao smashed into a tree and fell unconscious. The schoolyard was silent. A 4-year-old had defeated boys twice, even 3 times his age, without a single punch. Master Shen's warning? When Li Wei told Master Shen what happened, the old monk's eyes darkened. Master Shen, the world will not let this remain a playground story. Adults will notice. Some will fear you. Others will try to use you. Promise me, Li Wei. Promise you will not use these teachings to humiliate or for pride. I promise. But what if they never stop, and then teach them? Not with fists, but with the strength of your heart. And so, the boy who had begun as a victim was becoming something else, a mystery, a force, a child carrying the true essence of Bodhidharma rediscovered after centuries. But trouble was brewing beyond schoolyard bullies. Adults had started to notice, and not all would allow such a power to remain in the hands of a child.